In this video, we're going to take a look at checks and balances within the federal government. We're going to look at what are they and how has it impacted the U.S. In the United States, there are three branches of government in the federal government. And the reason is so that the United States does not become tyrannical like under absolute monarchs in Europe in the 17th and 18th centuries. Let's take a look at checks and balances in the federal government. The executive branch can veto bills passed by Congress, limiting Congress's power to pass laws in the U.S. In turn, the legislative branch can approve nominations of the executive, as well as override vetoes with a 2/3 majority, balancing the power between those two branches. The president can check the power of the judicial branch by nominating judges to that branch. In turn, the Supreme Court can use judicial review to look at actions by the president. The legislative branch confirms the nominations to the judicial branch, as well as impeaches judges if they act improperly. The judicial branch can use judicial review to look at laws passed by Congress. Historically, checks and balances have been an important part of American history. In 1937, President FDR, during the Great Depression, wanted to add Supreme Court justices to the Supreme Court without congressional approval, but failed due to checks and balances. Due to the controversy and unpopularity of the Vietnam War and the actions of presidents in that conflict, Congress passed the War Powers Act, which limited the role the president had in directing troops into combat. Okay, in today's lesson, you're going to look at how the powers of the federal government are checked and kept in balance. Now, you may pause the video and attempt to answer these on your own. Separation of powers is removing power from one ruler, typically someone who's tyrannical, and separating that power into different parts. In our government, we do it into three branches. Checks and balances, a little bit different, is by now creating a balanced system so that one branch is not too powerful. Again, the goal is to prevent the abuse of power. While this is the goal and the ideal, this is not always the case, regardless of how good a government can be. Again, in these scenarios, you're looking at checks and balances. As explained earlier in this video, checks and balances are to prevent tyranny in the government. So things such as vetoing bills, denying appointments, impeachment, and judicial review are different examples of checks and balances between the branches of government. In this section, you are reviewing the idea of federalism, or the sharing of power between the federal and state government. When you are finished, be sure to submit your work into Google Classroom. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email us or reach out when you see us in person.